Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Holeko. Say hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week we finished our Fosse Verdon watch with the episode Providence, but first it's another season of So You Think You Can Dance! Yay!
Yay!
So we watched the first episode of season 16, and in the spirit of the judges in this particular episode, I would like to say, oh my gosh, it was the best episode ever! All the episodes in the past, I've never seen anything like this! This is new, this is revolutionary, this is groundbreaking, I'm crying, I'm standing, I'm cheering! Oh my goodness. Were they excitable or what?
Yeah, that was something. I mean, I don't know how you go from this. They haven't even started the competition yet. These were supposed to be auditions, but so were they filming every single person, and were they reacting in this way? They only showed us the ones that they responded to in this way.
Yeah, that was, I was thinking, oh, well, now they brought in two, like, choreographers or more professional dance people than, you know, the more personality types we've had in the past. And it's going to get really serious now. They're really going to be nitpicking everything. They're going to be, you know, looking at everything so much harder. And they thought everything was just the most fabulous thing they ever seen. So either this particular crop of dancers has been grown in a lab somewhere to be just the absolute essence of danceriness, or these people got to knock off on the coffee.
Season.
How do you pick? It's like,
yeah.
Number one, diss for the previous casts. Y'all were nothing. Look at these guys.
What that one guy was a previous dancer, right? The one new judge. Mm-hmm. So I guess you weren't that good, buddy.
But when he said, like, you're 18 and I'm 33 and I can't do all those things you're doing. And I said, oh man, a lot of 33-year-olds can't do the things 18-year-olds are doing. You're not saying anything new there. But, I mean, they were fine. They were good. I've seen a lot of really good dancers in auditions, and they seemed just as good as some of the good dancers I've seen. It seemed like a lot of hyperbole for auditions.
Yes, agreed.
Save some of that.
Yeah,
y'all.
You're going to need it.
Well, I guess later on is when they get nitpicky and mean.
Yeah.
But right now, everything could be just, you know,
the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Although,
absolutely,
when we got to, have you ever heard of Alvin Ailey?
No.
Well, I hope he's heard of Alvin Ailey if he's trying to be a professional contemporary dancer. Like, I could understand if he was, you know, hip hop or something, but this guy was.
I know. It's like, name has come to my attention a time or two.
It rings a bell. Okay.
Yeah, although I had to laugh when like in the introductory stuff when they were having little snippets of dialogue and things, and there seemed to more than one be I've been watching this show my whole life and waiting to be on it, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, way to make me feel like
so I
an
guess
ancient artifact. Appreciate
from
that.
From a frame of reference in which being on So You Think You Can Dance is a pinnacle of the dream. Maybe you do need to make sure that they know who Alvin Ailey is.
This is true.
But you know, I went on to some message boards and looked on Twitter to see a lot of comments, and a lot of people mentioned that they missed the sort of dusty, we're coming to your town feel of the usual auditions. This seems like it's the show already.
Yes.
You've got the audience, you've got the big, fancy, high-tech stage. It doesn't have that same feel of, you know, we're coming to your town, line up, anybody can come in and do your thing, and we'll separate the stars from the thank you so much for coming. This sort of seemed like they had already maybe done that at some stage.
Which we didn't like, so I guess we shouldn't really be complaining. You really can't please us because,
You can't.
you know, in past seasons we have just skipped way over all these audition episodes because they're irritating. And this one was a little bit less so, maybe because it, you know, you weren't seeing all this buildup of somebody and then, oh, sorry, you're going home.
That's true.
Except for one person, I think.
Which also seemed like that had to have just been an excuse to get that dance troupe on, right?
Yes, I would
It didn't really seem like a serious audition. Because, I mean, you can bring somebody along to do your ballroom dance with.
Right, but you can't bring 15 other people on stage with you.
I think that's sort of a let's just get my friends on TV sort of moment, or let's find a way to showcase this group. Pick one of you to say you're auditioning.
Right.
It seemed sort of like that because she really didn't do anything separate from the group particularly. So I mean,
but they sure gave her a lot of airtime showing her
really did.
At home with her kids.
Yes, and in terms of things in this episode that made me feel old, the whole, do you know people can have babies and still, like, do other things? Right. Oh, my goodness. Who knew?
Amazing. Let's get the word out, Terry.
Yes. It doesn't have to be the end of your life. So it was, I mean, I enjoyed it, and I was happy that it was an hour, but I enjoyed it.
Yes.
But it does seem to be like... I mean, and I also enjoyed not having the person who is being featured in order to be slammed or dismissed rudely. Mm-hmm. That was okay, but there needs to be a middle ground, you know? Gee, that was really good. I can't wait to see where you're going to go this season. Because it did seem like apparently these people don't have much of a place to go because they're already the best dancer anybody's ever seen.
Exactly.
So calm down, y'all. We're glad you're back. Take some deep breaths. Right. And you know, give yourself a little room for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. So.
And we got Kat Deely and her boots.
Yes. She has such an enjoyable presence.
Yes.
She's very nice. And the new judges will have to see.
Yeah. I feel like I remember the guy. Whose
you were
name
watching it way back then.
Right now, but
Dominic or Dietrich, I think they were called.
Yeah, I think he competed just using the name Dominic. I don't think he had all that going on. But yeah, he looks familiar to me. Like I must have watched the season that he was on. Yeah.
No more of Vanessa Hudgens and her necklines that she has to sit up very, very straight the entire time.
Right.
We hope you're slumping somewhere in celebration of not being on TV.
Relaxing somewhere, Vanessa. Exactly.
You can hang out all you want now. It's just fine. But I looked online and there was something about the reason that they mentioned that Vanessa and Twitch were not going to be on this year because they just had all this other work that they were busy doing. But Twitch was on a couple of times, but he wasn't the other. Who was the other guy that was on?
Jason Derulo?
Yeah, no word on what Jason is doing. But he's doing it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So, well, I'm looking forward to the new season, and it's always fun watching people dance.
Yeah, and it puts me in like a summer mood because I feel like this show is only on in the summer. So when I watch it, it just makes me feel like summer.
Yeah, it's a good time of the year to slump in front of the TV and watch very fit people doing things while you eat ice cream and watch them.
Perfect.
Well, speaking of dancing, let's sashay on over to our final episode of Fosse Verdon. It's done.
Yeah.
It's so done. It's dead. It's pretty much the finalist ending you could put on that thing.
Yes.
Of course. They had to kill Gwen off later in, words over. I think she should have gotten a black background. I didn't really need to see the farm in Vermont.
Yeah.
But I should have been moved by all that final sum up there, but all I could do was notice an inconsistent use of the Oxford comma. So this is, some people have dancing as their passion. Some people have punctuation. What can we do? But it was, it was a good ending for the series. I think as an episode by itself, it was somewhat less exciting and captivating and,
right, it was a little
alarming
more
as the others. It was like, well, we got to get all this stuff in.
Yeah, it was, let's wrap. I mean, almost like our last episode of One Day at a Time, a very different show. But they felt very, this is the end.
Yeah. So it was fine. And certainly Nicole Fosse working out some of her demons there, I guess, in showing her young self going pretty dramatically off the rails while her parents were
kind of didn't notice.
Pretty disinterested.
Right.
I mean, I guess to one degree it is sort of appropriate to say, well, you want to act like an adult, I'm going to treat you like an adult. But first I would make sure she's not going to die.
Right.
Or overdose or...
Right there on the couch. Yes.
That stuff is like sugar cubes to him. It's not, his system is used to it. Presumably hers is not.
Right.
But it really made me wish... I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons for doing what they did, but I wish they had saved that actress for the last episode. Because she was very good in this, but I have 2 previous episodes of pent-up annoyance of her being made to look younger, clumsily. And I don't think they had to. I think that we could have had that little girl right up to this last one, and we would know, based on the timeline, oh, that's older Nicole.
Right.
Instead of having, oh, that's somebody dressed up like younger Nicole. So I think that was, far be it from me to second guess the creative team behind this miniseries, but maybe that was not the wisest call.
Right.
I don't know.
I would agree.
Maybe the fact that you have that little kids have more work restrictions on them than 20-somethings. Maybe they were having trouble working around that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like
artistically it was bumpy.
Right. We did, speaking of the creative team, get the Lin-Manuel Miranda appearance in this one. That was a surprise to everyone, I believe.
Yeah, it did. As I mentioned to you, I didn't watch this the night it aired, which I should have done. And then the next day I went on Twitter and I saw a tweet by Alan Sepinwall referencing a cameo appearance, and he put redacted in brackets and capital letters to avoid spoiling it for anybody. And then I scroll down, and the next tweet I see is somebody saying, wow, Lin-Manuel Miranda as Roy Scheider. I said, well, thanks there, Alan. You tried,
Alan
man.
Was talking about now.
It was kind of you, but fortunately I am not a spoiler phobe, and I know that if I go on Twitter, anything I see is on me, but it was just funny to see that juxtaposition. I don't know. You said that you weren't 100% sure it was him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have been either had I not known going in.
Yeah. I mean, I kept looking at it like, that guy either is Lin-Manuel Miranda, and if so, it must be because of all the affiliation that he had with it. But I kept thinking like, it mostly looks like him, but
I think the voice gave it away for me. Yeah. I mean, I think if I hadn't been sure, it's same with in the early episodes of the show. I can think of the first episode. Paul Reiser was on it, and I'm like, this doesn't look like I think of Paul Reiser looking, but that is Paul Reiser's voice. That totally is, and it was him. So I think it's the same thing with Lin-Manuel Miranda. They can put all the prosthetic hair on him they want, and it still sounds like him. So. And we had the payoff to the tap dancing at the
funeral of
Padachevsky's funeral, which was heartbreaking, actually.
It really was, yes. And kudos to Sam Rockwell on that one.
Yes. Well, just continued and forever kudos to both him and Michelle Williams for those performances, because I'm never going to think of Bob Fosse or Gwen Verdon without seeing them in my head. They both did such a good job. And Michelle Williams especially, I think, just did something with her voice and just the way she, formed her face.
Right.
It just seemed so Gwen Verdon-like. Not that I really have that much knowledge of what Gwen Verdon is like, but it wasn't Michelle Williams-like. It wasn't like, oh, there's Michelle Williams in a red wig. She transformed herself. It's very, very impressive.
Right.
So... I listened to a podcast this week. Justin Long has a podcast now. And I guess he and Sam Rockwell are good friends from Galaxy Quest days. And which just blew my mind when I realized, oh yeah, Sam Rockwell was in Galaxy Quest. Okay. But he was talking about one of the main difficulties of being in this miniseries was the amount of time he had to spend in the hair and makeup chair. Yeah. Like, I guess, traveling through time with Bob's hairline.
Yes. I mean, obviously they shoot it in a different order than what we see it, but there's so much back and forth in this show.
There must be like somebody, the hairstylist must have a list of what the hair looks like in each of these eras that we're bouncing back and forth through. So, okay, today you need this much of a comb over. Tomorrow, a little bit more. Aye. Impressive work behind the scenes there. Kudos to whoever was responsible for the hair and lack thereof.
Yes.
But it was an appropriate ending. Sad.
Yeah, and it tied up, it called back to the very, very beginning of the series.
Right. Yes.
In a satisfying way.
Right. And still had a fair amount of unpleasant behavior, really, from both of them.
Right, all that behavior that we've come to expect from those two.
That's right. He still made his girlfriend audition humiliatingly to play herself. And
she did in real life, right?
Yes, yes. Yikes. There was an interview, maybe you can, I think I sent you this link, or you can find it for the show notes, of an interview with Ann Reinking about this miniseries. And she was just very sweet, and he's really not that bad, and I hope they haven't made him seem too terrible. So she is either they have exaggerated for effect, or she is just the sweetest and most forgiving person in the world. Because she could just as easily have said, well, he was a difficult person, but you know what? His creative legacy outshines that. But she was like, oh, everybody loved him. He was well loved by all his friends, which seems to actually be the case.
Friends, I mean, but not by...
In the series, he has very, very loyal friends, not by the 500, young dancers that he exploited and threw away. But if indeed that scene is anywhere close to the truth and she is still so sweet about him, then God bless her. She's a kind soul. But, I'm glad I watched it. I could see myself watching it again. And getting all the little bits and pieces that I missed the first time. It was very, thought-provoking, and I guess entertaining seems like too light of a word. But it was. It's something compelling, maybe is a better word. And extremely well done. And makes me want to now go and watch YouTube videos of all that. Or the original source material.
Way to go, Tommy Kail.
So, yes, thank you all. Thank all you Hamilton people. I can't get tickets to your play, but I can watch your miniseries. Yes. Well, next week, we will not have a Fosse Verdon episode to watch because it is done, but we will have many, many, many more episodes of So You Think You Can Dance to come, and so we will watch one of those, and we will also watch the next episode of The West Wing, which is In God We Trust, a Vinnick-centric episode, which the West Wing Weekly podcast assures us they're doing an episode with Alan Alda to go with it. So that is something absolutely to look forward to.
Yes.
And that is going to be it for our round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.